Shearer Roadshow has sprung into life on Tyneside. 2 Premiership wins out of 2 have moved the Toon away from the drop zone. Tonight, they were out to make it 3 out of 3 against the Charlton side, who have one of the Premiership's hottest strikers.
Bent! Oh, yes! Bent! Brilliant! It's Darren Bent! There's a chance for Darren Bent, and he's taken it!
Good evening from St James's Park. A brisk night on Tyneside for this rearranged fixture, a game that was supposed to be played between Christmas and New Year, but that was cancelled because of the inclement weather. 6 weeks on, it's played again. This time, Newcastle have a different man in charge. Glenn Roeder this evening makes one change to the team that beat Southampton in the Cup on Saturday. Kieran Dyer's goal-scoring comeback into the starting lineup has taken its toll, and he's rested because he's still suffering from fatigue. Alan Shearer's not risked either, although he should be fit for the weekend match with Everton. So Lee Bowyer returns against his old club, with Emre playing in an advanced role just behind Shola Amiobi. Marcus Bent returns for Charlton, having been cup-tied for the weekend match with Brentford. Matt Holland's back after recovering from a thigh injury, while Jonathan Spector and Darren Ambrose replace Chris Powell and Jerome Thomas, who has a groin injury. Romadal and Fortune are still injured, as is reserve keeper Stefan Anderson, so 18-year-old Darren Randolph joins the first-team squad for the first time. Brian Hughes plays his 50th game for Charlton. On paper, it's a mid-table tussle, but as the season enters the final third, this match could conceivably launch a late run for Europe. 7th place might be good enough for UEFA Cup football, depending on who wins the cup competitions. The winners of this game in hand will be no more than 5 points away from the top 7 at the end of the night. The first of 3 consecutive home league matches for Newcastle United, a vital period for them, which they come into having won their last 3 games. Can they build on that this evening against a side who've really struggled away from home after such a wonderful start this season on the road? Here's Shola Amiobi. Solano cutting inside. He's playing quite a narrow midfield role for much of this season on that right-hand side for Newcastle. Early touch for Marcus Bent, and now Charlton skipper Luke Young.
Well, you get the feeling that tonight in that midfield third, Jim, it's going to be quite congested. It looks as if Charlton are going to start with 5 across that area of the field and just allow Darren Bent to forage up top on his own, which he's done very successfully during the course of this season. Emre will play in the role that Kieran Dyer occupied against Southampton at the weekend, just off Shola Amiobi. It's going to be important for the creative players in the game to get the ball into wide areas and then provide some decent service to the front players.
Ball 4 from Chris Perry. Goes there ahead of Ramage. Shot from Hughes. And the offside flag was up to spare Newcastle's blushes, but in a season in which they've struggled defensively at times, Robbie Elliott was mightily relieved to see the flag come up there.
Well, it's a late flag, and the reason is that I don't think the referee's assistant on this near side thinks that probably Darren Bent is going to get that involved until Robbie Elliott very nearly makes a costly mistake.
Here's Marcus Bent now. That's a very well-won challenge by Scott Parker.
I've just seen a big reason why Scott Parker's become so popular on Tyneside. You know, fantastic shield to the back 4. We talked about the problems that they have had. But, Scott Parker just gives them that added insurance. Makes some very vital tackles.
Perry preparing to take this free kick. Bent has just strolled across the line on the edge of the penalty area, completely untracked by a Newcastle player. The resulting shot not too far away from Brian Hughes, hoping to mark his 50th Charlton game with a goal.
It's a decent strike, isn't it? I mean, he's more than capable of this, Brian Hughes. They say his performance against Brentford at the weekend was absolutely outstanding. technically gifted player. Hasn't always been a regular in this Charlton side, and I think the way he's playing tonight with that 5, there's almost that 3 central players, probably suits his approach more than the other 2, because I think they're going to be just asked to sit and protect.
Good ball forward from Solano, and the Obi's there first, but his shot straight at Thomas Mura.
That's a terrific run. I've just been talking about the quality of Darren Bent's movement. But just have a look at Shola Amiobi here. Spots the opportunity with a little bit of space in behind. I think Chris Perry gets caught a little bit back on his heels. Doesn't really track the run from the start. It's a routine save from Maya in the end, but certainly encouraging to see Amiobi making those types of positive runs.
Marcus Bent lost out. And it was Parker who was snapping at the heels of the Charlton players in that congested midfield. Not been at his best so far, Jean-Alain Boumsong. Hughes trying to punish him.
Well, that was incredibly ambitious.
And he's given a corner, you're right,
I'm not convinced it was a penalty, you know, Jim. Corner, rather. I mean, when he strikes this, I'm a big believer when you look at players' reactions, and it's a horrendous clearance, isn't it, from Boumsong? But just have a look at Brian Hughes there. You know, he wasn't claiming for a corner. The other players were.
Newcastle getting it easily away from the near post, and then winning a throw in upfield, which they were looking to take quickly. Parker. Spectre. Boumsong's first touch fell safe. Boya. Newcastle still struggling to find any real cohesion to their play, pushing forward. It's the one half chance created so far. Will they be able to get something from here? They have a corner.
I'm not sure what Darren Ambrose was doing, really, because he allowed Newcastle the opportunity to raid down that right-hand side. He just came inside when Solano made the run. He really should have passed him on. It's a good opportunity now from the set piece.
Emre with the corner. Good in-swinger as well, which just kisses the top of the bar on its way through.
I don't know whether this is luck or good judgment from the goalkeeper, but this is a great freak. Well, it's very, very nearly finds its way towards the top corner. See there, Thomas Myra seems to be quite happy to let the ball go over his head.
Myra back in the northeast as well this evening. Won the championship title with Sunderland, of course, last season. Replaced Dean Kiley as Charlton's first choice keeper back around Christmas time. Elliott. Boumsong. Ramage. Solano in a wider position this time. Good link-up play between the Newcastle midfielders with Emre. Finding Solano again. It's the final ball that has let them down so far. It was probably Elliott that time at fault. Here's Marcus Bent. Challenged by Boya. Inadvertent 1-2 between him and Bent, and then some brilliant play from Solano. Might set Newcastle going again. Shola Amiobi. Boya.
Well, decent play, wasn't it, from Newcastle? Marcus Bent was the culprit, really losing the ball initially, allowing Solano, first and foremost, to just skip past Jonathan Spectre. And Lee Boya just supporting the attack, something that he's trying to do from midfield. When they do get forward, they try to spring him and Imre in an advanced position to try and join Amiobi. So, It's a little bit frustrating for Newcastle because they haven't got that natural pace of a Kieran Dyer. That they're going to trouble Charlton in behind, and because of that, they're having to play into feet. And for the majority of the time so far in this first half, it really has broken down.
Another opportunity to get bodies into the final third now for Glenn Roeder's Newcastle. Parker getting booed by the Charlton fans every time he touches the ball. Here's Emre. Lovely attempt just to guide it towards the top right-hand corner.
He's a quality player, isn't it, Emre? To be fair, you want to try and get him into the final third because he can create something out of nothing. Not sure whether that was a cross or a strike towards the far post, but very nearly catches Thomas Meyer unawares.
Bent. Free kick taken quickly and intelligently. Almost fell for Marcus Bent. Charlton have a player down again, and then will win another free kick after the handball in the midfield. And only once Darren Ambrose has picked himself back up a little bit gingerly.
Yeah, he got caught, didn't he, Darren Ambrose? Could quite easily have had a free kick there, but Uriah Rennie just allowed play to go on. Instead, Charlton do get the opportunity from a set piece, central, around about 30 yards. Takes something special to beat Shay Given. In outstanding form this season, the Newcastle goalkeeper. Probably one of the reasons why they've only conceded 29 goals in the league, because if it hadn't been for him, I think that would have been a lot heavier.
His personal future still undecided, incidentally, with his contract set to expire at the end of next season. That was a routine save for him from Darren Ambrose, hoping to mark his return to Tyneside with a goal. Newcastle can bring it away. Emre, seen plenty of the ball so far. Robbie Elliott. Only Amiobi in a position to make a run for the ball around the edge of the penalty area, and as such, Charlton have plenty of bodies to deal with it. And again, Darren Bent ends up goal side of Boomsong from the long ball forward.
Well, the two centre-backs are just having an inquest at the moment, and Boomsong probably feels that Titus Bramble should have covered around him, but I think that's Boomsong's to deal with. Just lack of concentration. I mean, this ball's travelled an awful long way from Marcus Bent. I mean, there shouldn't be any real danger. You've got two centre-backs marking one player. Now, that's gone directly over Jean-Alain Boomsong's head. Now, I think if it's come on more of an angle, I think he's every reason to question where Titus Bramble's position is on that, but I think he has to deal with that. Well, concentration's been a big problem between the pair of them. And, Titus Bramble is a player that Sir Bobby Robson brought here to St James's Park. Boomsong, of course, was brought from Rangers by Graham Souness.
Decent effort from long range.
Another challenge won by Scott Parker. Once again, great example to his teammates of just digging in, making vital tackles.
Young. Bent's just overhit that. He peeled out to a wider position this time to try and get Luke Young on the overlap.
He'll be reasonably happy, won't he, Alan Kerbishley? They've got the best away record. But, at the moment, they've settled quite well. The system's working reasonably good for them.
Peter Ramage getting forward for Newcastle. Emre. Bramble. Room to work with, but no confidence with which to do it, seemingly. More than happy to hit the ball back behind square. Here he is again, Titus Bramble. Taking some responsibility this time. He's done well to get it across. Can Bowyer turn? He can't. Shot from Charlton Athletic. Once more, cannoned off that wall of red defenders. Marcus Bent. Again, Darren Bent got the right side of Boomsong. Elliott stood firm this time to thwart Ambrose. Solano. Bramble can eventually clear his lines for Newcastle, who look far from safe at the back whenever Charlton have played it forward. Anyway, unlucky. Knew that Niobe was in a wider position, couldn't steer it out to him. Here's Young. Hughes. Intended for Spector, but cut out by Solano and well brought down as well.
Space is a premium in this area of the field, isn't it? I talked about it very early on in this first half, Jim. There's so many players from either side in that midfield third. And Titus Bramble has two or three occasions just tried to get forward and link up.
Hughes. Bent, back to Brian Hughes. Still Brian Hughes. Has he managed to trick his way through? Not quite. But another inquest in the Newcastle back line as to how Brian Hughes managed to pirouette his way through so many challenges.
Well, he does brilliantly, really. I mean, Darren Bent, once again, the instigator, making a good run. I just think when Brian Hughes gets his ball under control and shifts it to his left foot, I think there's an opportunity there to strike. And once he tries to bring it back onto his right foot, Newcastle then get enough bodies around the ball to just shepherd it away to safety.
Hughes. Spector pushing forward from left back. And Ambrose has done well to turn it in. Looked as though it was going to fall for Marcus Bent. It was only a nice gas touch from Robbie Elliott that denied him a clear opportunity on goal. In from Kishishev and away by Boomsong. Bramble happy just to try not to make his name off the ball and getting it clear. Mike backs well for Newcastle, but Ryderson with some steady defending makes sure that it doesn't.
Oh, very nearly turned into an excellent ball, did it, from Titus Bramble. Ramiobi found himself all alone against Herman Ryderson. Big centre back. Looked a little bit uncomfortable as he's going to try and head it clear.
Emre took exception to the challenge and will be spoken to by Uriah Rennie.
Well, referee just telling him that he'll deal with the situation. No real need for him to get involved. A talented player, Emre. Clearly is a free kick. Could be an important player for Newcastle United tonight.
In from Solano. And it was a free header. Jean-Alain Boumsong lost his marker.
Well, he didn't have to work hard to lose his marker. And his marker was Hernan Ryderson, which is very unusual for him because he's a decent header of the ball. And you would have expected him to have done better with that.
Holland. Young. Oh, you're there ahead of Kishishev, and then a foul by Luke Young, and that could well be the first caution of the night. Ryan Rennie quick to reach for the yellow card for the Charlton captain.
I can only think Luke Young's demonstrating with the referee because he probably thinks that they should have had a free kick just before that, but that's a clear yellow card. I mean, it's a cynical challenge. And Scott Parker, whether he feels that he was impeded there, he might have had a point, but it's clear cut, isn't it? You look at the way the referee is, he's only a couple of yards away.
Well, Uriah Rennie did have a reputation a few years ago as being a real disciplinarian. Now, though, this season, only one red card and one penalty in 17 games this season in the Premiership.
And I think he's a lot better referee because of it.
Newcastle wasting the opportunity, and that's been symptomatic, really, of the way that this game has gone, particularly in the last 10-15 minutes or so, where Newcastle have had the majority of possession, haven't really been able to do anything with it. And Charlton haven't been able to get the long balls forward for Darren and Marcus Bent as they did in the early stages of the game. And it's just stagnating a little bit in that congested midfield area at the moment. Bramble. Parker. Amiobi's offside.
That must have been close. That must have been close. It was all very tight and congested there. But to be fair to the linesman, he was very, very quick with his flag. As that ball there spins out of the feet of Imre, he's just the other side of Ariderson. That just does enough to convince that gentleman there to put his flag in the air.
Ball from Solano. Covering by Hughes, who dropped very deep behind his back line. In again. Lee Bowyer scoring with an overhead kick against his old club really would have taken some headlines.
Very ambitious. Well, it was spectacular, wasn't it? But, you know, we've just seen there a benefit of when you do get into wide positions, you get balls into the box, it gives you the chance to get players forward. Lee Bowyer hasn't had too many opportunities to get into a threatening position. It's a decent ball from Solano, but it was going to be some spectacular attempt, wasn't it, from Lee Bowyer?
It's Bramble, given away. Holland. Is that going to be a yellow card? Scott Parker is protesting his innocence. He gets the yellow card for taking down Darren Ambrose in full flight.
It's a poor challenge. You talked about Scott Parker doing a very good job in front of the back four. But he gets that challenge horribly wrong, doesn't he? He's a long, long way away from the ball.
Riderson free at the back as the free kick is taken. Looking from Young.
Two good headers from Charlton Athletic. The first one against Riderson, and that second one just to clear the box of any danger.
Won by Bramble. Hughes' arms seem to be towards the shoulders of Lee Bowyer. Back out for Bramble, but again he abdicates responsibility. That's a better ball. Emre, good strike, but Thomas Mura made a comfortable save.
Well, again, it's a long, long way away from goal. Just keep the ball alive, don't they? Newcastle. Bramble does well a couple of occasions. Another ball to Imre. Decent first touch. Haven't really troubled the goalkeeper, Myra.
Amiobi's done well again. And it's Ramage who's sprinted forward. Not a bad ball in. Nobody gambled until too late that he was going to be able to get it into that kind of area.
It wasn't a bad ball, but I just think that when Amiobi laid that ball into his path, probably ball's got to come in first time. There's a lot more space to hit, really.
Charlton have won only 2 of the 12 Premiership matches that they played against Newcastle. They invariably do end in draws, actually. Last win that Charlton had at the Valley back in February 2001 with goals from Matt Svensson and Sean Bartlett, who has been left out of the 16 this evening. Bramble just got it away in time. Bowyer looking at the referee. Kishishev watching the ball and playing on. Here's an opportunity. That was a vital block by Boomsong.
He didn't know an awful lot about it. We've been fairly critical at times of his defending, John Allen Boomsong, but that was an important block because Darren Ambrose really got hold of that. He's getting a well-earned pat on the back from his goalkeeper. Now, this is a terrific strike. Really sits up nicely, doesn't it, from Darren Ambrose? And John Allen Boomsong just turns his back, but just does enough. It's a terrific ball from Kishiev to find Marcus Bent. And that's a great strike from Darren Ambrose.
Shay Given's goal kick coming at the start of 1 minute, added on for stoppages at the end of this first half. Robbie Elliott's miscue. A very eloquent description of the 45 minutes of football we've seen.
That's been poor, been very poor fare. Both sides are capable of better, but the emphasis is on Newcastle United. They're the home side. They need to go and chase the game, be a little bit more adventurous. As for Charlton, well, it's pretty comfortable for them.
The erratic bounce has deceived Spector, who just stuck out a leg and flicked it back to Kishishev to recover. And that marks the end of a disappointing first half, with goalmouth action very much at a premium, and Glenn Roeder will certainly have his sternest half-time team talk to date to offer to his players. Sean-Alain Boumsong coming the closest for either side to scoring. Having said that, Newcastle with Boumsong and Bramble at the back again looking shaky, and Charlton will fancy their chances of being able to steal something in the second half. Half-time, Newcastle United 0, Charlton Athletic 0. Alan Kirbishley will have been the happier of the two managers with the way the first 45 minutes went. And Newcastle not really able to create too much with the possession that they had. And Charlton looking as though they could unlock that Newcastle defence, but then really getting too many opportunities to do it. So plenty of room for improvement for both of these sides over the next 45 minutes. Madison climbing over Amiobi. The referee acknowledged that, but played on with Newcastle in possession. And Ryderson atoning for his error by cutting out the through ball for Shola Amiobi.
Well, you'd have to think Newcastle United will get better. I think it was a lacklustre performance at times in the first half. Had some decent possession, but couldn't really convert that into too many goal-scoring situations. No doubt Glenn would have addressed that at half-time. We'd want them to maybe play at a quicker tempo, try and get the ball into wide positions, particularly in Zogbia and Solano, try and get players forward from midfield. In some respects, actually, would probably help them. The longer the game goes on, and Charlton maybe just get a little bit more ambitious, try and get a taste for winning this game themselves, and might just give Newcastle a little bit more space to operate in.
Charlton actually on the verge of an unwanted statistic this evening. They've gone 7 games without a win away from home in the Premiership. They haven't gone 8 away games without a win in the same season for 11 years. Can win tonight, it will propel them up within 4 points of 7th place in the table. Could reinvigorate their season in the Premiership. However, here's Amiobi, just couldn't quite stretch out the leg far enough, and he's hurt Mura as he went for the loose ball. He was entitled to go for it, but he's definitely caught the goalkeeper.
Well, Charlton Athletic really guilty of overplaying in that midfield area. Kishishev and Brian Hughes were the culprits here, and fair play to Lee Bowyer. He really was closing down. That's a decent through ball, but just off the pace, Shola Amiobi. But let's take nothing away from the bravery and the anticipation of the goalkeeper Thomas Myra, who was very, very quickly at the feet of Shola Amiobi. Gets hurt in the process. That's terrific goalkeeping.
Welcome back to the northeast for Thomas Mura. Never forget in this part of the world if you've previously pledged your allegiance to another one of the sides up here. Free kick goes Charlton's way.
It's an interesting one. Boumsong actually hurt himself with a challenge on Darren Bent. Clever play from Darren Bent, just turning Boumsong. The ball run across his body.
Spector's making a late run down the back of this free kick, and it was John Spector that met it, but the offside flag was up.
I can only think that's a set piece from the training ground, and I'm just a little bit surprised that Ryderson's run into an offside position, because Spector made a very, very late run. You can see where he's coming from there, and Ryderson really foolishly finds himself offside when there's no real need to, and you can see there that Spector has that opportunity at the far post. A terrific delivery.
And a terrific layback by Spector as well across the edge of the 6-yard box, but Charlton unrewarded for that little piece of invention. is Young. First attempt at a diagonal ball in the second half to try and get Darren Bent between the two centre-halves. Hydeson's header clear. Holland leaving it for Hughes. Bramble shrugs off his former Ipswich teammate. Interesting that Titus Bramble used to be a teammate of Darren Bent, and yet more often than not it's Boomsong that's detailing him rather than a player that will know him from having trained with him.
That's probably more to do with Darren Bent going to play alongside Boomsong rather than Titus Bramble. I just wonder whether Glenn Road is, tempted to change things in respect of Bowyer and Emery. I think if Emery comes towards that midfield area and has that great creativity presence that we know he's got, and Lee Bowyer can really make those runs in behind, which we've seen on 3 or 4 occasions, I just think Newcastle might get a little bit more joy than what they're having at the moment, Jim.
Parker battling with Kishishev, and he's taken the free kick very quickly. Amiobi, that's too much of Solano. He's going to be able to keep it in. He's done very well, Nobby Solana. He's got 5 in the centre to try and hit. And Luke Young that came across to cover that near post area. A long-range shot in the end is no concern for Thomas Muir from Robbie Elliott.
It's a great shame, wasn't it? Nobby Solano does brilliantly down on this right-hand corner. We're not the best defending from Charlton Athletic, but clever play from Solano. We've just seen glimpses, haven't we, of the 2 wide players, what they're capable of doing. Just haven't really seen it enough from a Newcastle perspective. Well, that's miles offside on Amiobi. That's a poor decision from the linesman.
Emre. Very defended well. Holland. Good ball from Ambrose. Bent. And still. Boomsong eventually managed to get something on the ball to get it to safety, but I think Titus Bramble might have picked up an injury.
Yeah, he's got a problem. I mean, he had to leave Darren Bent in the end, Titus Bramble, and he's gone to ground. This is a real blow. I talked to you earlier about the fact that Glenn Roeder hasn't got too many centre-backs. You see there, he just holds his left hamstring. In the end, Boomsong does well just to shepherd the ball away to safety, but this is a real blow for Newcastle United, because there's no real natural defender on the bench.
Parker. Lovely turn again by Scott Parker. Luke Young's with him. He's forced him wide and won a corner.
Really well, Scott Parker there. Very positive, really, when he got this ball on the edge of the box. Really know where to go. Manages to etch out the corner from nowhere. I'm not convinced it was.
Swept in looking for Shola Amiobi, who does manage to get his head on it eventually. And Charlton having real difficulty in getting this clear. Shot through a crowd of players, hits Hydesson on the edge of the 6-yard box. Still, Charlton can't get it to safety. Eventually they can, and now the counter-attack is on. It's 4 against 2. Newcastle having flooded bodies forward, in real danger. Good ball forward from Marcus Bent.
Poor ball, Jim. It's a poor ball, and needed more on it. Needed more on it to get Darren Bent ahead of his marker. Really, really sloppy from Marcus Bent. That was a great chance, really, to get the first goal in this game, and Darren Bent had worked hard just to stay on side. That's a poor ball, really. I mean, he's got lots of options here. They break forward in great numbers, as you rightly said, Jim. And Darren Bent makes a clever run. He's there looking for the ball. That's when it's got to be played. It's just not enough on it to get Darren Bent with a clear view on goal.
Here's Amiobi. Went to ground, but there's only the most optimistic Newcastle fans on the Gallowgate that appeal for a penalty, although Amiobi has stayed down injured, and the ball will be put out of play so that he can receive treatment. In fact, the referee has stopped play, and Shola Amiobi in need of treatment after a very heavy fall.
Well, it was a tough, strong challenge from Chris Perry. It just catches Amiobi there on his ankle. Certainly looks as if he gets some of the ball, so well, mind you, having a look at it again, he doesn't get any of the ball. He's probably very, very fortunate he hasn't given a penalty away. Interesting to see the angle of which the referee has in his view, but you can see there as the ball is nicked away, doesn't get anything of the ball there, Chris Perry, and that's a clear-cut penalty.
Amiobi, and Heridason can't keep it in. It's a Newcastle corner.
Well, sometimes a frustration, isn't it, when that ball has gone forward. From Newcastle United's point of view, Amiobi, as hard as he's worked tonight, you don't really get that feeling that he's really going to go and do anything special against this Charlton back four.
Boomsong, who had a free header in the first half, forward again. Swept in by Emre. What a chance that was for Newcastle to win the game. Shola Amiobi unable to hit the target.
Well, this is one of the few deliveries that Emre has hit from a corner kick that he's got right. Floats a beautiful ball towards the far post. Poor marking. Shola Amiobi, I mean, that's a free header. And it's round about 3 yards from goal, and that really ought to have been buried. You can see there Solano giving him a quick coaching lesson on how to head the ball, and he says head it down, and he's right.
Good raised by Emre. Apology to Marcus Bent. It's a free kick to Charlton. Owen scored 7 goals in his 10 matches for Newcastle. How they have missed him. Chris Perry with the free kick for Charlton. At stage do they start gambling and pushing more bodies forward to try and turn 1 point into 3. Holland. Still 4 from one bent towards the other. Good save from Given.
Well, I think this is a mishit pass, you know, from Marcus Bent. I think he's a little bit fortunate, but once again, Darren Bent really has been a constant threat. You know, he turns a nothing ball into something that he might just score from. And once again, it's a terrific save from Shay Given. He stays big, just does enough to see the ball out.
It's an outswinger from Ambrose, and it's swung out too much initially. Going over the dead ball line, it's a goal kick.
I think Alan Kirbishley will be absolutely gutted if they lose this football match. I don't think really Newcastle have caused them that many problems, and they've dealt with most things here tonight. It's all very narrow, though. I think this plays into Charlton's hands, the way that they're playing with that 5 in midfield. I think it just suits them that Newcastle not really looking to get too much width in their game.
Ramage. Close. That's off the top of the bar again.
Well, again, Thomas Myra seems quite comfortable to allow this ball to go over his hands. That's 2 occasions now where this has happened to him, one from a corner, one from open play, and they've both hit the bar. It's probably about as near as Newcastle have got. I would have thought Glenn Roeder will be desperate to get Alan Shearer and Kieran Dyer fit for the weekend. They've certainly lacked that many options up front. And of course, he's got that centre-half position to worry about now, because Titus Bramble looks as if he's gone off with a hamstring strain, and that isn't going to be ready for Saturday.
Here's John Spector. Solano stuck to his task manfully, and he swung a throw in the end. Still only 19. Jonathan Spector on loan, of course, from Manchester United for the season. Actually forced his way back into Charlton's starting lineup in place of Chris Powell. Hopeful as well of a place in the United States World Cup squad. He's been captain a couple of their recent friendly internationals. Marcus Bent, good ball in. Darren Bent, what a challenge from Boomsong.
Well, it was an important challenge. What a great ball and a very clever run from Darren Bent. You know, Marcus Bent picks him out beautifully here. But again, you have a look at his position there. Is he offside? It's very, very close, isn't it? He's always on that borderline. He does the hard bit very well in the flick past Peter Ramage, but this time Jean-Alain Boumsong doesn't give it up, and that's an important piece of defending from the centre-back.
You'll have made the run forward that time. Darren Bent. What a chance! Took a deflection, it's a corner. It fell for Darren Ambrose, and he was close.
Oh, what a great chance. You know, good technique this, you know. This is a difficult one to take on. It looks as if there's just a slight deflection off Boumsong, but you know, that's a terrific strike, really, from Ambrose. This game's certainly up for grabs, isn't it? What a chance. What a chance. Well, we haven't seen too many good corners taken. We've seen one from Imre that Amiobi should have scored. Radisson needs to do better from.
And the table's so concertinaed from 5th down to about 13th, 14th. This game in hand and fixtures like it could prove yet so important. What price a late goal for either of these sides as Kishishev tries his luck, but it was the finish of a man who hasn't scored in 109 games.
It was a finish in keeping with the game that we've seen as well. It's really been a poor football match. And the fans at no time really, I don't think, have believed that Newcastle have been capable of scoring tonight. And, arguably, Charlton Athletic have had the better chances. I was saying that Amiobi had a header that he really should have scored from.
Emre. Oh, he's done well, Emre. Until the finish.
Well, he does everything right, doesn't he? And he certainly shifts that ball towards his favoured left foot. And, well, he's been one of the few players on view, I would say, tonight that has had the ability to have moments like this in terms of creating chances. However, the finish, like Kishishev that we've just seen, has been in keeping with the football match that we've seen, and that's been very, very poor.
Yule. Charlton managing to strike as isolated against defenders at times, but haven't capitalised on it yet. And they've got a throw now. And there'll be 3 minutes of time to be added on. And it will be an injury time winner now for either of these sides. Amiobi comes to meet it. Perry there first. Holland. Kishishev. Will either side be able to create one last half chance in this game? Not with a clearance like that from Shay Given, a rare mistake from him.
I certainly don't think that there'll be much of an edit on the end of season video of this game, that's for sure.
When they called this one off with 20 minutes to go between Christmas and New Year, maybe they knew what they were doing. Offside flags up again.
It's a good job those Charlton fans that have travelled a long way up to the northeast have had their trip paid for.
But when you've only picked up 1 point from your last 7 away games, the point here will be one that's been deservedly garnered by the Addicts. Might yet be 3. Ever away by Boomsong. Solano's clearance. Madison there before Luque, who hasn't really been able to do too much since coming on the injured Titus Bramble. And Zogbia. Emre. He be the architect of a famous late win for Newcastle, not this time. It finishes 0-0. A game that was devoid of goal-scoring opportunities between two mid-table sides, and they both cancelled each other out in the end. It could have been different. Darren Bent was always lively for Charlton and had opportunities to score the only goal of the game. Shola Amiobi really should have done with a late header that he put over the bar. Disappointing fare really on Tyneside. Both sides might be frustrated that it's 1 point instead of 3. Full-time score, Newcastle United 0, Charlton Athletic 0. Well, Alan, a hard-earned point tonight.
Yeah, and I think if you look at our away record, it stands up, our away record, because of them early wins. But, you know, we've needed to keep a clean sheet at some stage just to give ourselves a chance, and it's happened here tonight, so we're delighted with that, because obviously that's always going to give you a chance of picking something up. But it was a stalemate. There wasn't too many chances either way, was there?
Did you feel frustrated that perhaps one of the half chances that your side created didn't go in and give you the victory?
I felt as the game went on, the last 10 or 15 minutes, we looked the most likely. We broke a couple of times, and I think Benty nearly nipped in there, and Jason Yule nearly nipped in there. But it wasn't to be. But you know, we've come into tonight's game desperate to try and stop this away run and the form of recent games, and this goes towards it.
Well, it's certainly not a setback. We set out to win. We wanted to win, and the lads did everything they could on the night against a stubborn Charlton defence and formation to play against. Is it a foundation to build on? Well, obviously, getting 3 points, it'd have been easy to say, yes, this is the foundation that we now build on for the next home game. So it's a point, stating the obvious, it's a point. We haven't been beaten a game, haven't lost in 4 games now, and we'll roll on to Saturday and roll our sleeves up and come out fighting against Everton.
So, 0-0, a result which keeps Charlton 12th in the table and sees Newcastle climb above Fulham into 13th. Newcastle 13 points clear of the bottom 3 now. No change in the top half, of course, with Chelsea 12 points clear of the field, but there are still only 8 points between Arsenal in 5th and Charlton in 12th. So it was a night when neither side could take any of the few half chances they created, but one on which Charlton earned just their 2nd point away from home since October, after they proved to be a significant hurdle on Newcastle's road to recovery. Good night.